Hey guys, DPG, David Patrick Green, hackhollywood.com, hackbollywood.in. Today I want to teach male actors in particular how to make it so that they can cry whenever they feel they need to. Now, the trick here is understanding when you need to. And really, there isn't any specific time when you're going to need to cry, okay? Even if it says cry in the script, you kind of have to resist that. If it says cry, then really what it means is by this point, you should have the understanding of the facts and the story that the situation your character is in is feeling some kind of sadness, loss, whatever it is that's causing you to cry. But it doesn't mean cry here because it says cry. It means it's a clue that if you aren't feeling upset or whatever it is by that point, maybe you need to go back and recheck the facts. But I don't want to get bogged down into that detail right now. We'll talk about that another day. To cry for a man is a little different than it is for a woman. But men can certainly do it. Men and boys and whoever, but especially men who are grown. And the older you are, the harder it potentially is for you to cry for a variety of reasons. I won't get into the reasons, but it's life history, not having grown up in this day and age where things maybe are a little more emotional because there isn't the necessity to be strong and stoic at all times. But whatever the case is, if you, let's say, are just getting into acting, especially if you are, haven't done it a lot before, and you feel like that's one of the tools I need, then this is for you. Okay, so just so you know that you can cry, even if you haven't cried in a long time, just remember back in childhood. Trying to get the weirdo shadows off of me. But remember when you were a kid? Crying was not a problem, right? I mean, you skinned your knee, you stubbed your toe, you didn't get what you wanted, the tears, the tantrum, it was all very easy to come by, right? Well, what has changed? Why is it that women can cry much more easily than men in general? That just seems to be a more comfortable state of being for them. And it's simple. It's biology and it's also society. But primarily it's biology, right? At a certain age, call it puberty, the secretions of certain hormones cause men to become more muscular, to get hair, to start to look more like a caveman. And those same hormones also cause you to behave more like a caveman. Somebody who maybe goes out into the world that is unknown and has to take down a mastodon or, whatever, saber-toothed tiger, whatever was roaming around way back when. And if there was a war, the men went to war because they had more natural strength and they were able to summon up all that testosterone and make themselves do things that otherwise they would never want to do. So that's what the testosterone allows you to do, but it also, that cuts you off somewhat from your supply of emotions because it helps you suppress the emotions of upset and sadness and feeling badly or feeling sorry for yourself and turns it into something like, if no one's going to save the day except me. And so I'm going to take action, even though maybe I want to cry and maybe I'll cry after for what I've lost and maybe what I even caused to be lost on the other side. And you may see hunters crying over a kill, but they're okay because they understand why they're doing it, and it's like a thankfulness. But there are hunters that will do that. Some, they take trophy shots, whatever. So what it is you need to do is just remember what it was like to be a child, right? And to feel the loss. And the best way to do that is to imagine certain situations in your own life. For me, I hadn't cried in I can't even remember how long, and I knew that there was this class I was taking, and this part sounded to me like I felt like this guy is going to get upset over a certain thing. Like when he sees his son that he hasn't seen in years, and he's also come to announce that he's going off to fight in a war, right? So he sees his son, who he knows he probably won't ever see again, and he hasn't seen him, so he's got lots of stacked up guilt And now he's going to go off and fight in some foreign war, largely for the adventure of it, right? And I thought, I feel like this could be a poignant moment. And it didn't say cry in the script. In fact, I had seen the movie and none of this took place, but I just felt like, I don't know, to me, that's what it meant. So, but I knew there's no way I was going to go up in class and cry in front of about 100 people, because it was a master class that was highly attended by industry professionals. And I'm like, I was just new to acting, right? This was like, and I had never had to cry, or I never cried. I never felt like crying in anything they ever gave me in class. And so I was pretty scared to go up and not really be able to produce the emotions that I felt were possibly warranted by the story. So what did I do is I thought of losing somebody close to me, and I just thought of that quite a bit, constantly, really, to try and make it real. Like, what if, right? And slowly but surely, the upset, the denial, which is what a lot of guys have, we kind of just, the emotions aren't there because they've been unused for so long, and we really don't feel like we have a use for them. They're just going to hurt us. They're not going to help us. And so it was suppressed, and I couldn't get it out. And I was thinking to myself, oh my gosh, like I'm screwed. Like, this is going to be a terrible acting performance. But I would get in the shower and I would just think, I would say it out loud. I would say things that I would, what would I say at their funeral? And when I started doing that, like I started seeing myself talking to her other loved ones, that's where the empathy came out. And that's the kind of empathy, or that's the kind of feeling you want, that is appealing and attractive to an audience. Okay, it's not the baby crying of I'm not getting what I want and I have no other way to get it or communicate it. It's the feeling for others, right? Sure, there's feeling for yourself, but you can sit there and cry to yourself, but it's not active. And the crying of empathy is an active type of crying. It's like, I feel for you and I'm here to help. What can I do for you? Okay, and that's the kind of crying that you're going to probably encounter most, right? You're not going to get a lot of crying where you're just sitting there feeling bad for yourself because of your loss. It's feeling for others, feeling, or when somebody says, I've got to go, or you say, I've got to go, and you feel for that person and their loss. Like, they're crying and maybe you shed a tear with them because you feel terrible about the whole thing. And that's another thing, men do, is we have a tough time separating ourselves, breaking up. We just carry on, right? Because we don't want to have those moments. We're scared of making other people feel bad. But the way that worked for me, and I think this is really the way to go, is to try and think of losing someone close to you, because that's the most serious, that's the type of thing that will, if nothing else is going to make you cry, that's the kind of thing that will bring tears to your eyes. Maybe it's a pet, maybe, God forbid, maybe it's a child, but you just want to get to the stage where it can happen. And then if you have a piece where you feel like there's this emotion, then work your way to that moment. You can even do it while reading the paper. You don't have to be acting with another person. Just read the story and feel yourself through the story and see if it has caught on to you, if you have revived that emotion of empathy or loss or whatever the cause of the upset is, because everybody gets upset. And as an actor, you need to learn to at least experience it. You try to suppress it, but it has to be there for you to suppress, okay? You don't want to learn to cry just so you can cry and feel good about yourself. And I've seen that. I've seen horrible examples where, for instance, Hamlet lost Ophelia. And in the very same class that I actually participated in, where I actually did manage to cry, a guy played Hamlet. And when he lost Ophelia, he lost it, but then he couldn't say his words. He just broke down and he basically had given up, right? Which is not what the story is. The story is he loses Ophelia, but what does he do about it then? So you can have the upset of losing Ophelia, but then what are you going to do, right? It's like winning the Super Bowl. Okay, so what? But you still got to carry on with your life. Your life isn't over. So you lose somebody, but you carry on, right? What is it that the story says happens next? Well, that's what you have to do. You can't go, oh, well, I'm upset. So that's it. Scene. No. Okay. Find the thing that upsets you the quickest, whatever that might be. Okay. So worst case scenario, because if you can do that, then you'll get there. You'll have, the emotions will come flooding out of you. Like I got to the point where I was bawling my eyes out because I just wanted to experience that. So I knew it was within me, and I wasn't anxious about not being able to do it. And then I'll tell you what happened. I did the class, and it actually amazed me because I'm not very good at space work, like improvisation, where you see something and it's real to you. But for this little thing, just the trigger of seeing my son, even though I wasn't very good at imagining him, just nailed me. And I can feel it right now. If I just think of that moment and I think, I've got a son and I haven't seen him, and not only I've come back to say goodbye. I mean, the kid's probably like, what do you mean say goodbye? Where have you been? You piece of crap or whatever. And you can just imagine all that, right? Coming back to your son and imagining all that emotion and them saying, where were you, Dad? Like, you're supposed to be taking care of Mom. You're supposed to be doing this and that and the other. Of course, it's all with a Welsh accent. Great to see you, Cressy. It was a Welshman. Not the greatest Welsh accent right now. But as soon as I saw this out of the corner, I just moved my eyes to where he was, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And then I said to her, his mother, who I had left, I said, I think the line was, "Is that him?" And she just nods. She doesn't even have to. And I'm just like torn apart, and I literally cried for the rest of the piece. Was probably 3 minutes long, but I never gave up. I just was doing everything through tears, and at the end we danced, and I cried while dancing, and it brought the house down, and that wasn't my intent. All I wanted to do was know that I could access my emotions. Now, I mean, I could see a puppy in the park, and I can feel like that. It's there. Okay. Once you've done it once, maybe you practice it a few times, go into the shower and bawl your eyes out. Practice it. So you know that it's there. And then when you need it, you can be a real human again, a whole human. And that's really what acting is about. It's about being a whole human and being able to express the spectrum of emotions that a human can express. And you have to do it in the context of a story. And generally in the story, you are doing things, right? You have goals. You're trying to accomplish things. So no matter how you feel, you can't stop. You keep going, but you're torn up. And that's what the audience loves. It's like, oh, that poor guy. Oh, God, but look at him. He keeps going. That's what makes a hero, right? And that's what most plays and TV shows and movies are all about heroes, people doing heroic things. They're either superheroes that are imaginary, or they are just real, everyday, ordinary heroes. People that save somebody, or people that, stop a crime in progress, or whatever. So for me, just acknowledge, guys, that if you haven't done it in a long time, you need to practice it so that it's available to you. And then you're going to feel a lot more confident in your acting, because if that emotion comes up, it comes up, and people will see it. And you're just like, they'll just see something change. And you're like, oh my gosh, is he going to cry? And that's as far as you need to get, is when they're like, oh my gosh, that poor guy, and then they can't take their eyes off you. They can't take their eyes off you, and they'll go, oh my gosh, you're an amazing actor, and all you're doing is just being a real person. Okay, guys, that is it. I hope this was helpful. Doing a little workout in the park today. I got my new orange blue blocker glasses on, and I got to tell you, they really work. They bring things into focus much better than when they're off. Woo! But that's it. Let me know what you think. Try this exercise. Let me know how it works for you. You can do it in 5 minutes. You can go from a non-crier to a blubbering little baby, but don't do it for the wrong reasons. Okay, learn to cry out of the fact that you might lose, or you have to leave someone to go be a hero or to save the day or whatever it is, or you have empathy for somebody else. And when you have empathy for them, you might go, oh, God, I feel terrible for you. I'm leaving you here, but I'll be back, you know? But you're torn, right? You're torn. So anyway, practice it, guys. Let me know what you think. And you know what, ladies, this can work for you. Some of you aren't good at crying, and I think the same principles generally can apply, because more and more of us are now playing parts that maybe in the past we wouldn't have played because things were a little more traditional. But you know, the gates have opened to far more diversity of roles, not only, you know, according to race, sexual preference, and all that, but just, hey, big people, little people, tall people, short people, and people of every color and people of every age should be able to play lots of different parts. And I'm totally for that. So I look forward to playing Superman when I'm 75 years old. Please vote for me. I will talk to you guys soon.